Welcome to Cascade, land of the big perch. You know, I think the elephant in the room is, why do you drive 31 hours, go all the way almost to the west coast to ice fish when you guide and live, you know, right on Lake Erie in the Great Lakes region? And simply put, a lot of years we just do not get the ice. And when it looked like we weren't going to get ice, I wanted to go to where there's been more big perch caught in the last 10 years than anywhere probably in the world.
Welcome to Wyoming.
Kind of windy. It's kind of windy in God's country. It's almost like I feel like I'm on Lake Erie, Wyoming. Ooh.
Welcome to Utah.
And that's Lake Cascade. So we jumped in the truck and we drove 31 hours each way to go catch those big old jumbo perch, or at least try to.
Welcome to Idaho.
You know, nowadays it's a lot easier to do research on things, you know, with the internet and knowing other people, being on the ice team. And we tried to get as much information as possible and didn't really get a lot, to be honest with you. And it really kind of unfolded pretty easily when we got there and realized why there wasn't so much information. Simply put, you know, there's not many people that fish Cascade. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. And realistically, just a lot of people that probably live in that neck of the woods don't ice fish. So in Cascade, it's just kind of like any perch fishing. You gotta stay on these things and keep lures down there, because those schools will move out of there so fast that you got a ton on you, then you got nothing. And one of the little problems that we've got here is a lot of them little ones. Got a little picture we can show you of a tiny little perch, and that's what those big perch are actually eating. So you kind of try to quickly ID, and the hummingbird there is really good about, you know, breaking down the size pretty accurately. And that's why we're also been using some of those bigger baits and loading them up to try to just keep basically the small ones off. You can't catch a donkey if you got a little fella home. There's just a ton of perch. It's non-stop action. It's like simulator mode on the Helix, but they're all little ones, lots of little ones. Finally kind of figured out dead sticking a little perch imitation hard bait is what the donkzillas want. I mean, when you can lip them, son, I know guys that would mount bass like that. That's a freak, probably 14, 15 inches. I'm trying to keep one rod out of the way so I can see what's going on, because we've got fire in the hole. There's 3 on the bottom. And I'm just trying to keep identification of what's going on here. So I got my north one way high. We got there, we found out that the water was down about 12 to 15 feet. So I went out and I got 2 Humminbird GPSs on my snow machine, and we adjusted that Lake Master chart so that the depth of water actually was what it said it was. And we kind of did just like walleye fishing. We fished those little small areas, and it made a huge difference. I mean, 2 of our best drops were things that I found on the map before even leaving my house in Ohio, and I had marked like, hey, I want to go here, this just looks fishy. Gobble gobble. What we got here is we got a scope on the Helix, and it's kind of like oval marks, and it shows a better representation of how big those fish are. You can see my lure there at about 24.3, and we got a nice one coming in. We see it's got red, a little thicker there coming off bottom. And then I got my second lure, is the highest mark you see right there. But the A-scope is something I really like for everything from walleyes to perch like we're doing today. I had that sucker on. He's coming dirty. Hot, hot. Biggest one yet. Two pounder. I told you this was the biggest one yet. Oh my God, check this out. You are not gonna believe. Did you see that spit out? A bass tube. He literally just spit up a bass tube. 2-pound perch. This is about a 15.5 incher. Spit up a bass tube. I saw that thing coming up. We were trying to tell you how awesome the new lure wall is by Lakewood, and how efficient we were getting it out. You saw it. Oh my God. That's a freak show, people. A freak show filled a 6-inch hole. I mean, when you can lip them. Cascade Gold. You know, as far as the average size out there, I don't know how to answer that question because we caught them from 2 inches to 16. But I mean, there was a crazy amount of 14-inch fish. And I mean, that's a really big perch. You know, in a lot of cases that's pushing 1.5 pounds, or even a few of them, even more than that. We weighed several fish. And looking at some of the DNR reports, I mean, there's a lot of fish in that 14-inch range. So I don't know what to tell you what to expect there. I mean, literally fish, you know, from 2 inches to 16 and everything between. But as the trip kind of progressed, we went more into, you know, targeting those bigger fish. We were trying to do things. We weren't trying to catch 1 million fish. Kind of back to that walleye mentality with using a little bit bigger gear. When you go there, it's, you know, maybe we didn't do it right. We didn't really know what we were doing, but in the little bit of time we spent there, I don't think you catch 1 million fish if you're doing it right. There's little bite windows. It's very much like walleye fishing, but they're big giant fish, and that's what we came there for. We didn't go there to fill up coolers. We didn't go there to take a bunch of 6, 8, 9, 10-inch perch. We went there to see what we could catch. Absolutely tatonka. Probably the best piece of advice I got was, you know, fish them like they're walleyes. You know, don't bring really light gear out there. I mean, you're catching 2 pound plus fish. There's so many small perch that's actually what a lot of these big perch are feeding on. And if you use small lures, it just seemed like you were just inundated with these tiny perch, like 2 to maybe 5 inches. And it just is a no-go. So almost literally like what I would call light walleye tackle was what ended up working a lot of days. So we drove about an hour this morning to a different portion of the lake, even though we did really good yesterday. We want to try something different. We're here for tonkas, big zillas. So helping JJ back this sucker up. We're trying not to get backed in, and there's like no parking. So there's parking for 2 rigs. So we're gonna make sure we don't get blocked in by snow or plow or whatever. It's just part of the thing with ice fishing. There's always something breaking, or you gotta think ahead.
What happened? Oh, just a little bit froze this morning. All that rain yesterday. Freezing temps this morning. Gonna make for a great day. Just not for these locks.
When we got to Cascade, it was really very nice. It was sunny. Things were really pretty darn good. But just before we had got there, we got 2 feet of snow. And to kind of bring this into picture, it's a reservoir. It's a dammed up deal. There's a dam on kind of the southwest side, I believe it is. And it's maybe 3 by 12 miles long, give or take. And it's between 2 mountains. But the problem was, as the trip progressed, the temperatures got up and up and up. And it just got worse and worse to try to move around. They call it the slush monster out there. And it was definitely a problem. We tried a new launch at Cascade. We don't know what we're doing. Fisherman friendly, but we're at a new place here, and guess what? We hit slush. Lost my shanty, barely got the machine out, had to drop everything. So redoing, gonna put the stuff, hopefully get everything out, put it back on the trailer, and we're gonna go someplace else because the slush is getting naughty. It's a couple feet deep, and it's gonna warm up a little bit as the day goes on, and it's gonna get worse. As we moved into later in the trip, we decided to kind of, you know, venture around, and we found out real fast that you gotta be careful on Cascade because that slush and that deep snow, and just even not having, you know, accesses that are plowed, you can get stuck really fast. Rescue mission kind of complete. I've lost 12 pounds of water weight in about 2 minutes. 0 to 0, 4,500 feet elevation didn't really help, but neither did having my shanty over the top of the water. It actually would have been drier in the pool. It's just part of ice fishing. That's what you do. Olympic swim team. Michael Phelps today, a little tired, leg day's over. So here's the deal. We've made another move. Basically, there's so much snow and it's so warm. It's kind of a shit show. But we've got over here, we've got some lasagna with meat sauce on the jet boil. So we're looking forward to that since we lost a whole lot of water weight and calories digging these machines out. Bite here at Cascade is really unique. You know, you're trying to stay away from these little fish, and we get just a little 12-incher. Should let go. But the activity just goes from nothing to hot fire. And I think probably the biggest things I've learned is to have 2 rods down because if they either like one thing or they don't like it, you need to stay on them, and you need to, if you do catch a good fish, get that other rod fishing quickly to keep those fish below you. Really, this is kind of like home. I mean, it's like walleye fishing. These things move a lot, and you get 3 or 4 that come in, and you know, it's not like perch fishing a lot of places where they just, you know, have a big group of them. Short little bursts, and you got to do things to stay on top of them. We're gonna let this big old Tatanka go almost 14-incher, and she built like Santa Claus. Watch this sucker go. Oh, she ready to go. Maybe not. She's so big she can't fit in that 6-inch hole. You know, there's that old adage of you don't leave fish to find fish, and we were kind of, even though we had, God, I don't know how many fish. I mean, we had, I think, a half a dozen that first short day that were approaching 2 pounds or over, and so, I mean, almost met my expectations right there. But as the trip progressed, you know, we're looking for that even bigger fish, and we managed to get some fish that were within a few ounces of the state record, which was super cool. But, you know, I guess maybe it's my mentality as an old tournament fisherman, or when we spent those couple days, you know, kind of headhunting for those big ones and venturing out to new waters and trying a lot of stuff. Truthfully, we just wasted a lot of time. We got stuck a bunch, and we weren't where we needed to be. I had to kind of bundle up here a little bit. It's kind of whiteout conditions, but the jumbos are still going. It's been a really, really unique bite. Just trying to sort through these small fish. If you come here, it's like a dream to learn how to use a flasher. There's just constant action. But trying to get in front of these has been a little more difficult the last bit. But at least it's firmed up. We don't have any more slush, so that's a nice thing. Oh, here we go. It's gonna be, it's coming quick because I got leader. So, provided he wants to come up in the hole. Yep, it's a rainbow. Not ready. 6-inch hole. There's some jokes about this, fellas. Treble hook, 6-inch hole, and rainbow trout is not a good combination. I don't know what he's pulling, but treble hooks on the side with a rainbow is not a good combo. Oh, finagled up. Whew. Just like they'd still head back home. They is wow. This is, if Ross had fins and gills, this is what I might be right here. Oh my. Nice little rainbow. JJ!
Nice!
We're gonna let him go. Okay, ready? I'd say the second thing that kind of, you know, going along with that Lake Master chip that really made a difference for us was the Humminbird Mega 360. There was a lot of times where, you know, with ice fishing, really anywhere, you're only seeing what's below you. You don't know what's going on. Even if you put an underwater camera, you're like a horse with blinders on. And especially when we started venturing a little shallower, we put that 360 down there, and we were able to see a farther and really a better interpretation of the bottom. And there was a few things that we learned, and by looking at that 360, I could reproduce it. I could drill one hole, I would drop that down, and it'd be like, okay, this is what we're looking for or what we're not looking for. And that was really important because those things change throughout the trip. And the more you can be efficient, the better you're gonna be ice fishing. You know, drilling one hole, not covering much real estate, it's a bad deal. I learned a few things. Perch are perch, even though they're a little different on Cascade. They're just a whole lot bigger.